So I looked at several blogs and web stories that connects to my type of things that I read or that connects to my personal lifestyle. So I think for the three effective characteristics that I saw are uniqueness, captivating, and easily understandable. So first for the uniqueness, I did go to one of the sites that I looked at. It's called Task and Purpose. I worked with them before in the past in my army career, and I like their contents. I like their angle. I like their stories. But one important thing that I noticed with this site or their blogs is the uniqueness of the stories that they publish, or yeah, the stories that they publish. So the blog doesn't really discuss usual topics. There are some that talks about the same news that everybody else talks about, but there's this one story that I read. It talks about these lens technology, like the virtual reality goggles. And I thought at first it was actually talking about um, the virtual goggles that we use in the military, but actually it is talking about developing the same virtual technology thing for canines, the military dogs. So, and I was very fascinated with how unique the angle of that story is. So, I think that's a characteristic that makes it effective, um, because it's very unique. And then the second characteristic I noticed is being able to get the attention of the audience, or the captivating essence of a story. So, because any story has to be able to captivate your audience or the readers. So, I looked at the TED blog, and everybody likes listening to TED blog or TED Talks. I mean, but I looked at the TED blog since I liked listening to TED Talks. But the TED blog, the difference between the TED blog and the TED Talk is the fact that it captivates the readers too. And I mean, I know that people would just listen to a TED Talk and be happy about it, and they would enjoy what they're listening to. But when you look at the TED blog, it showed how the written stories are just as captivating or even more. So I think the TED blog caught my attention immediately with the image they used for each blog post and the first line of the story, or the lead was actually just like it clicked on me, and I was like, I want to read more. So I think that's one thing that is very effective for any blog stories that's created. And then and whenever the blog post catches the attention of the audience and brings the audience into the story and wants and makes the audience wants to read more, then it's very effective. And the last characteristic, the effective characteristic that I noticed is the ease of understanding, or easily understandable stories. So most blog I read have this characteristic where I can easily read the story and understand the whole concept or the whole angle of the story, and I can comprehend it easily. And especially for me who speaks two different languages, and English is my second language. So I felt like if I understand the story and I get what the author is trying to write about, I think it is very effective, because there are stories that I've read and I'm just like, I don't even know these English words. So it's just like, I don't even want to keep reading because I'll have to look at the dictionary what these words mean. Like, if you go way too deep into English words or use slang that some people might not even understand, then it's not as effective. But if you have an easily understandable blog or story that you're writing, then I think that actually works and it is very effective. So I think those three are the things that I think are very effective, or effective characteristics wise. And then for ineffective characteristics, I think that I mean, personally, I believe that it is easier for me to remember the bad things about a blog or a story that I read. So, for ineffective characteristics, I have plenty of opinions, but I will only note what I think is the top three for me that veers me away from a blog or a story. So, first, I think a blog is ineffective when it's too, or a blog site, when it's too crowded with ads. I mean, I've seen blogs that I thought I would be interested in looking at and reading stuff from, but then I go in there and then I click on the story or the blog itself, and then I just get covered with ads. And I'm just like, I get it that ads are for profit, but I can't stay and read when I keep getting distracted with having to click off the ads. So I think that's one thing that, I mean, I know it's kind of like aesthetic, but I think if it's intended for a blog to be read, then just minimize the ads, or don't have your blog set in a way that the ads automatically pop up. Um, and or if not, then just don't put ads and use a free site or something. um I mean, it is good. I understand how good ads are for profit, but it's just not ideal for me. And then second, I think when a story starts off with a dull lead, or the lead of the story is too common. I mean, when I read the first line, I expect to read something that is new to me, that will tell me, hey, read more. And I just chose to not even read into the story if I read like the same lead that I just have seen like a day or two ago. And I'm just like, well, uh, I don't think there's something new for me to read. So I felt that I wouldn't do, or I wouldn't read a blog if it's too common. Um, and then for another, or for that same characteristic, I think when it's too common, it makes it sounds like you're just plagiarizing or copying somebody's lead, and you think it captured you, and then now you think you're going to be able to capture other readers with the same lead. So I think you have to make your lead very captivating. So I think it's not effective when it's repeated lead that you're reading over and over. So yeah, I don't think that works. And then lastly, I think the most ineffective characteristic of a bit of blog that I've noticed, there are some like newbies that I've read blogs from, and I felt like there's no visual appeal or support, and they just write whatever, and which is understandable. But visual appeal or visual support is something that as human beings we do like to see, because we tend to want to see an evidence or proof that you're talking about a real thing, or you're not talking about a fictional story or something. If it's a blog, I think you should talk about a story and then also support it with the visual evidence. So if there's no image, I wouldn't want to read it, because it just feels like, okay, what am I about to read? And I will just keep having those questions over and over, and then I'm just like, I don't get it, because I don't understand, like, why can't you show something visual, or at least a photo or two that says this story is what really is about. So if there's nothing that shows me any kind of visual about the story, I'm probably not gonna read it, and I'm most likely gonna veer away from the story immediately. So I think those are the three ineffective characteristics, and yeah, that's my opinion. But tell me I'm wrong. But I mean, that's just my personal um opinion about it.